All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Bennett Hine, and I'm your host today for 500 Firms. I'm joined here with Jack Hutchinson, who is currently the president of Business Builders Club. For this past year, he managed to grow Business Builders Club by over 800%. He raised funding and has grown funding from 3 to 5 figures. He worked with a lot of different companies and startups in the local Columbus area and managed to run a really successful startup career fair, which had over 500 students come to it. And then this past year, they also received a lot of awards for how well the club has done, and Jack won President of the Year. Congrats, Jack.
Thank you.
And then so I'm here today to talk to Jack about what Business Builders Club is and his current summer internship. So with that being said, can you describe what Business Builders Club is for someone who doesn't know?
Absolutely. So the Business Builders Club is Ohio State's entrepreneurship organization. It's been around since 2001, and our goal is to connect, educate, and inspire the next generation of student entrepreneurs at Ohio State. What we do is we facilitate a variety of programs, everything from weekly speaker series to workshops and special events. And our members get to engage with the local Columbus community as well as on campus. And every now and again, we bring folks in from across the U.S. to talk and engage with the club. So the organization itself, like I said, has been around since 2001, almost 20 years. And we have a fantastic alumni network, which is growing by the year. And like Bennett has said, we've seen tremendous growth in recent times.
Regarding your growth, how did you guys manage to grow by 800%? And what was the process like?
Sure. So we took a very business approach to growing the organization. We view, as a leadership team, we view the Business Builders Club as a business. And what you have to realize is our members are our customers. We are the employees of the business. We're the ones leading the charge. But at the end of the day, we're working for our customers. And customers want to engage with your business unless you're providing them with value. And we went out and we talked to our members and we understood what they wanted to hear, what we were missing, what we had already been doing well. And we work to fill in those gaps while also extending our strengths. So like with business, you have to understand your customers. You have to find that niche. You have to target your audience. And you really have to pursue those individuals to make sure that you're providing as much value as possible for them.
So like Business Builders Club brings in a lot of different speakers throughout the year and hosts a lot of different workshops. How do you think that provides value to your members?
Sure. So on a yearly basis, I would say about 30 weekly meetings. So we meet obviously every week. That said, we bring in 30 speakers and host a variety of workshops. So obviously entrepreneurship is about taking action. The speakers are great. They provide a lot of insight, valuable lessons, and inspiration. But, some of the feedback we received was that our members wanted to take action. They wanted to learn more. They wanted to engage more. They wanted to have more of a hands-on experience. And with those workshops, we were able to do that. So Benny, like you participated in a variety of workshops, everything from Photoshop to Intro to R. So we really try to extend ourselves across the spectrum in a variety of areas. Although the leadership team is not necessarily experts in any of them, we're sure to bring in experts to teach those workshops.
And how do you guys get feedback from your customers about what they liked in the workshops and what they don't like?
Sure. So we provide the opportunity to fill out surveys and incentivize our members to fill those surveys out. So whether that's with a shirt, a sticker, a sweatshirt, whatever it might be, there's always opportunity there to fill out those surveys. And we take those surveys, we analyze not only the content that's within each individual survey, but we look at how that content is changing and the feedback is changing over time. So we have everything from weekly surveys to special event surveys, big yearly surveys, or surveys that are sent out, each semester. So there's plenty of information coming in, a lot of insight that we're gaining as a leadership team, and then we take that and leverage that to really develop a strong program.
So Jack Hutchinson met with some different companies and cold called them, and actually got a ton of different companies to come in and support the club. I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about that process and how they wanted to come in for Business Builders Club.
Sure. So we're really fortunate in that, going back to our history, the club's been around for 20 years. So we have a lot of established connections. And as a result, we're a really trusted partner on campus at Ohio State. So when people think Business Builders Club, they think of the reputation that we have and the value that we provide to people. So not only just in our weekly meetings, but like you said, during the likes of our career fair. One of the things that has never been done on campus outside of the Business Builders Club is provide students with opportunities to pursue careers or part-time, full-time opportunities, whatever it might be, with the startup community. And I think it's a great way, having worked at a startup myself, to get engaged, build that responsibility up, understand the business at a very, entry level, and truly make an impact. And that got me very excited. It got the leadership team very excited. And together we began reaching out to hundreds of companies. Our contact list is several hundred long. We ended up having 40 startups join us after a 3-month-long outreach period, and 500 students came through, which was fantastic. We've now gained recognition from several colleges across the university, and we're going to grow the event this year.
Nice. I know a lot of other members in Business Builders Club got internship opportunities this summer because of the Startup Career Fair, which is cool and impressive. So thanks for that.
Absolutely.
And then also, I recognize that you worked at a pretty cool startup last summer, and you're working somewhere cool this summer. Can you tell us more about the internship that you worked last summer and how you found out about it?
Sure. So I worked for a company called GripMat last summer. So GripMat is a Shark Tank company. They were on the last season of Shark Tank, and they basically manufacture and sell a product that's a non-slip flexible tool tray. It was born out of the aviation market and was primarily used in both automotive and aviation. Those were our primary markets when I was with the team. I was, as a freshman, sitting in my dorm watching Shark Tank, and this was fall of my freshman year at Ohio State, and I was watching Shark Tank. And I got very interested in a product that I saw, which was in fact GripMat. As I was going through and listening to the pitch, the founder, Tom Burden, said that he was from Columbus and the company was based in Columbus, Ohio. And, if you know Ohio State and you know Columbus, we're within the city. So I saw it as a great opportunity for me to take advantage of, a unique challenge, a unique opportunity to get engaged with something that I'm passionate about. I love the automotive and aviation markets. I love the product that Tom had created, and I thought I could provide value to him and his team. And having been to a few career fairs at Ohio State at the time, I knew that I wasn't necessarily going to get a job with a Fortune 500 company or go that typical corporate route as a freshman or even a sophomore. Most of those companies don't accept resumes and internship opportunities from underclassmen. So I knew that this was a good opportunity, and I pursued it. Probably across a period of 3 months, I reached out and stalked both the founder, Tom, and the head sales director, Lucas Latour, and eventually they got back to me and provided the opportunity for an interview, and took advantage of that, and worked out to be a fantastic internship and a fantastic time with the company. And it's thriving today. I left GripMat back in November, so I was with the company several months, but I left in November after having some phenomenal opportunities with them to pursue another internship opportunity, which is with Abbott Labs. I'm actually in Chicago at the moment working with Abbott Labs, and Abbott is a healthcare company, and they have several business segments and divisions, and I'm actually working with Abbott corporate marketing. So my job is within a special team to really convey the brand value of Abbott and strategically think how that's going to be executed in the next few years. So our goal is really to drive shareholder equity. And so I'm able to leverage the experience I had with GripMat and put it into more of a corporate role. And it's equally as unique of an experience for me. And having come from the startup community and hearing the stigma around corporate America, it's a great chance for me to really feel it out for myself and develop my own opinions about it.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's super impressive. Number one, that you worked with GripMat and you got that position. And it's also very impressive that you took what you learned there and you got a cool opportunity with Abbott Labs and now you're working for them.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been great.
I was wondering, what sort of stuff did you learn from those real world experiences and how has it kind of shaped your career path?
Sure. So I think first and foremost, I took advantage of an opportunity that presented itself on Shark Tank, a TV show. And a lot of people would kind of look and say, wow, that's so out of my league. I can't do that. So I'm not even going to try. And so the first lesson I learned there with GripMat was you just have to be present, because if you're not present, you're not in the game. If you're not in the game, you can't win. So, when I realized that I could really go after the opportunity and it aligned well with my interests, I made sure that I was as visible as possible to the decision makers within that company. So again, be present and then get in front of the decision makers. And ultimately, with marketing even, you have to really make that impact. So the more times you can get in front of somebody with a product or yourself, the more the likelihood is they're going to take take notice of you, and that's a great thing. So while I was with GripMat, I really honed in on my sales skills, communication skills, planning and organizational skills. I organized trade shows. I managed some of our accounts with the likes of Zulily and Groupon. I targeted a new industry for us, which was tool trucks, which is really unique. If you're unfamiliar with tool trucks, think of an ice cream truck, but basically replace the ice cream and fill it with tools. Exact same thing, same concept, same business model pretty much. So it was a good opportunity for me to get in there at the ground level and hone in on some new skills and expand my interests. So as a result of GripMat now, I jumped into marketing. I'm really enjoying marketing with Abbott and engaging with some of the leadership team, the chief marketing officer and a number of VPs and divisional vice presidents. And, as a rising junior, a lot of folks don't necessarily have those opportunities, and you have to go out and make those opportunities for yourself. So yeah, it's been a blast.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. I guess some of our viewers might be like in the same boat, kind of looking for internships or looking, how do I get an internship opportunity? Yeah. What process would you recommend going through for, let's say, finding a Shark Tank company to work for?
There's a lot of ways to take advantage of the opportunities that are already out there, to hone in your skills and really leverage your strengths and sell yourself. I was watching Shark Tank, something I'm very interested in, and through a simple Google search, found a plethora of information that I was able to utilize to get in contact with the founder and the sales director. So if you're really, really gunning for it, there's plenty of ways, simple ways to, get in front of somebody. LinkedIn is a great tool these days to develop connections, but, I have some reservations about LinkedIn, and that, some people will go and just connect with as many people as possible, which is great. But if you want to build those relationships, you have to engage with those individuals, and you have to be strategic about that. You can't engage with everybody, at least not yet. We don't have the maybe technologies to do that, but I'm sure we will soon. And you just have to be present. So if you're present and you're engaging and you're reaching out, you get in front of decision makers, you're winning. And whether you get that opportunity or not, you get that internship, that full-time job offer, that's no fault of your own at that point. It just wasn't, maybe you weren't a strong enough candidate or you weren't the best fit for the company. And that's okay, because there's other areas out there to pursue. Take advantage of, career fairs on campus and around campus. There are plenty of online communities. If you get involved with, say, a Facebook group and you notice somebody needs help, you can reach out to them and get engaged with them and see if you can get paid for the services you can provide to that individual. There's just so many ways, to get a job these days. There's really no reason why you shouldn't be employed with the opportunities that there are. So it's great to get out there, be present, be available, get in front of people, and don't be afraid to put yourself out there. If at the end of the day you get embarrassed about it, that's okay. Get out of your comfort zone, because it's important to do that every now and again.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. I'm sure some people will look into doing something similar.
Yeah, sure.
Another thing that is interesting about Jack Hutchinson is how well connected he is. He has a lot of connections both with Business Builders Club alumni and other people in the community. One thing that I found out when talking to people is that when they were younger, our age, they wish that they kept in touch with their connections throughout the years and as they enter into the corporate jobs. I know it's going to be really effective to use LinkedIn, but what other ways can we engage with people to kind of let them know that we're still here and kind of form a good connection and without asking for anything?
Yeah, I think when you're forming those relationships, you never really want to ask for something. You want to make sure people realize that you're there to be a connection and to be a resource. So I don't necessarily go about asking for things, rather, how can I help you?
Yeah.
Kind of cliche, and I think a lot of people use it these days. It might be a little overused, but genuinely, if you think you can help somebody and they're in need and you just say, look, I can help you here, it's a great way to start a relationship. At the end of the day, everybody wants to be successful, and if you can lend your hand to help somebody else be successful, that's a great thing. So outside of LinkedIn and maybe outside of career fairs, there are networking events. If you can get engaged with some Facebook groups, there are a variety of networking events that you can go to, not only in and around campus, but in communities across Ohio, and I'm sure nationally there are great Facebook groups. So Facebook's a great place to get engaged and build those relationships. Once you've established those relationships, handwritten notes, are so effective these days to really stand out from the rest of the crowd. So many people will shoot a text or a LinkedIn message or email, and that's great. You want to make sure you're maintaining those relationships, but a handwritten note says a lot about somebody and their character, and it's just a great way to, facilitate those relationships further and differentiate yourself.
Those are really great tips on how to keep in touch with your connections. Maybe one thing I struggle with in that like area is just the sheer amount of connections that we have, just like from being a business student. How can you kind of like maybe manage those different people and like think of who to reach out to? How would you go about doing that?
Yeah, I don't know that there's necessarily a right or wrong way about doing it. You could prioritize by value of relationship. Who do you see being most help to you in the long run? You obviously want to prioritize somehow. So that might be a good way to do it is looking at the value of your connections and saying, okay, well, these people are great. They've been able to support me. They're champions. They're doing really, really well in their respective fields. Yeah. And I've already established a connection. These are the people I want to continue getting in contact with and building a relationship. And you can focus your sites that way. I also think that even as simple as posting just something generic on LinkedIn every now and again, or on Facebook every now and again, or Twitter, or wherever else it may be, just remaining visible and allowing people to engage with you is a great way to remain connected. And likewise, vice versa, right? So, one of your connections that you haven't talked to in years post something, no harm to comment, oh, hey, great to see you on here again, or love the content that you're posting, contributing to the community, or this is some really unique thoughts. Those are, great ways to stay connected.
And like with that, I heard one way to even stand out more is to like send them a direct message and tell them why you liked their post, or tell them what you liked about their post, because then that's really engaged.
Very cool.
Yeah. Another question that I have is kind of more about the leadership team of Business Builders Club and how you guys have worked together to grow the company or the club so well.
Yeah. So when I brought on the leadership team, we're actually the youngest leadership team, or one of the youngest teams at Ohio State.
Wow.
And one, you have to be a strong leader to bring peers on board. I think when you look at clubs, businesses, fraternities, whatever else it might be in life, the older people tend to be the ones who are calling the shots. And that's okay. I think that's very traditional. But to be able to surround yourself with people who are older than you or even of the same age and still be able to pull a team together, speaks to someone's ability to kind of muster the group along and provide that vision and that trust. So as a leader, that's something that's really, really important. And I think from my team standpoint, that's something that they've developed a lot of trust in. I also firmly believe that everybody on the team is no more important than anybody else. We're all decision makers in our respective areas. So being able to provide people with the autonomy to go and do what they need to do to execute on that common vision and shared goals is super, super important. You can't micromanage those individuals. Every now and again, somebody might need a hand, but you can't be on top of people all the time because you'll lose that creativity. You'll lose the thought processes. You'll lose the individuality. And ultimately, at the end of the day, those are the things that make good teams great. So yeah, we've just been very organic in our growth. We're a passionate team. We're a strong team. We're a diverse team. And at the core of all of that, we just, we really enjoy what we do.
Like as a member, it's like looking up to the team. You guys have done a fantastic job this year, so congrats on
Thanks.
that. Another thing like I want to ask is kind of what are your keys to success?
Oof, that's a loaded question.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any. I mean, there's just so many keys to success, right? You could ask 10 people that question, and if each person gave you 3 things, I bet you anything that they'd be 3 different things. So I'm a firm believer in just being present and staying involved and engaged. It goes back to the networking side of things again and building those connections and organic relationships. If you're standing in front of people and you're being present and you're providing people with value, that's really, really important. And that will ultimately drive your success, is if you're able to provide help to somebody or fill somebody's need, and by leveraging your own strength, then, people will be grateful for that. And that's great. Take advantage of every opportunity, that's out there. Going back to GritMat, that was a TV show. I had never met Tom before. I had never seen him. I've never heard of him. And here he was. I was watching him on TV in a show that had been, filmed in Los Angeles in front of multimillionaires and a few billionaires. And I had the gusto to go out and reach out to Tom. It's taking advantage of those opportunities that will speak to your success in the long run. And that's not necessarily even just looking for internships. That's in everything in life. Let's see. One more key to success. I personally am not, 1, afraid of failure, and 2, of embarrassment. I don't enjoy being embarrassed. I don't, it's uncomfortable for everybody, but failing is not necessarily a bad thing. It's a great opportunity to learn from something. So I don't obviously enjoy failing or getting embarrassed about things, but failing is a good thing, and being able to be embarrassed and uncomfortable every now and again is also positive, and that'll help you in the long run, I think. And, when I think about some of the things that I've done with the team, we've made some mistakes along the way where you look back and you think, wow, those were poor decisions. How at the time did that seem like the best decision to make? day can end up being this was the result. You'll be frazzled or something will happen, and that can be embarrassing too. But if you can get back up again and just keep going, that's a great thing, and that'll definitely stand to you in the long run.
Thanks for that. A great answer. And then my last question is a little bit more abstract, but
Sure.
What is like one thing that keeps you up at night?
I actually sleep really well, so I've never, no, I'm kidding. It's not something that keeps me up at night, but the thought that you may not wake up tomorrow, right? So unfortunately, the way life is, we could die at any second. And I'm not at the point in my life where I'm not scared of death, definitely scared of dying because I've not lived enough yet. And it's not necessarily that it keeps me up at night, but it's the thought that every day could be my last day. That's the thought that kind of haunts you a little bit. But it's also a great thing for me because it motivates me. So when things are tough and as bad as they can be, it's a good opportunity for me to say, I'm alive, I'm living through this. That's ultimately a beautiful thing. So, living every day like it's your last, another, very cliche saying, but I firmly believe that it's something that everybody should do. So death doesn't keep me up at night. I definitely sleep well, but it's one of those things, when you think about some of the challenges you might face, that's something that resonates with me and is a strong motivator.
All right. Yep. Thank you. This is Jack Hutchinson once again, the president of Business Builders Club and a well-recognized peer among Fisher. So thanks for talking to me today, and we look forward to hearing more from you and seeing how successful you are in the future.
Well, thank you, Bennett. Really, really appreciate it.
Thank you. All right.
Take care.